you can get one for 185 rand, 165 rand, right? T-shirts, 50 bucks, thereabouts. And when you're an institution that is cash strapped, you try and go for something that's presentable, but you're not gonna go expensive, right? We saw a quote for 409 rand and it's signed off, right? I must tell you, that's a lot of money for a corporate golf shirt, right? Especially for a public institution that's really battling to make ends meet. So that's my difficulty. So it's not just the matching of the invoice. It's also the value for money. You do accept that.
I do, Chair, and
I'm not accusing you. I'm just hoping that you can walk me through the process. So that invoice is signed, okay? Which then says to me that either the road accident fund wanted expensive golf shirts, in inverted commas, or was just happy that they wear golf shirts, but didn't do the due diligence to say, but do you really have to get golf shirts for 409 rand? Why not? The limit is 250. You know, that kind of guidance, right? I just want to understand why it is that you would sign a golf shirt at a 409 rand, and I can itemize other things. Bottle of water, 85 rand. Empty one with no water in it, right? And I'm raising this issue to say I have a concern that there is no process to make sure the road accident fund does not get taken to the cleaners, because that's the other side, or unless you do it as well, because then I would ask, how come those invoices get signed off by someone somewhere in HR or whatever, because it also became apparent that everyone signs.
Chair, it is the responsibility of every manager to make sure that they get value for money. I want to give you an example of something that landed on my desk.
No, sorry, so I just want to know, is there a guideline? Is there limits set for these kind of things? I'm just trying to understand the point at which that it's a value judgment. Do we want to be paying for 409 rand golf shirts or not? It's really a simple question, you understand? And it appears to me that that's not there. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it, you and I.
Chair, you are correct. It's a value judgment. And that's why I'm saying each manager, each senior manager has the responsibility to make sure that whatever they spend, the money of the road accident fund, it's value for money. And that's why I wanted to give you an example. There would be an event that we're having, and what a ma'am gave me there is a bill of quantities. So where I'm involved, I actually go through the bill of quantities with the service provider one by one, line by line. And I can tell you, Chair, that I have scratched out a lot of things, because that's my responsibility to make sure that we don't print, who prints programs in this day and age? We can make them digital. So I've canceled such things. Chair, I can give you an example. This year in August.
No, Ms. Manyasha, remember I said you're not on trial.
Yes.
Honestly, you don't need to defend yourself. What we concerned about here are systemic issues, right? I mean, there might be instances where an individual has done something really bad, right? It's clear to us because those invoices are signed. I mean, we don't need to belabor the point. The point I'm making is, would we be unjustified if in our recommendations we said that the board, because it is the accounting authority, management will do it, right? The board needs to scrutinize supplier invoices, those supplier invoices, and see the extent to which the road accident fund has overpaid for certain goods, services, apparel, etc., right? Because it's clear that while you may do it, as I understand, if HR want an event, then the HR people sign. You understand? So it's all over the show. There is no control. The budget might fall under marketing, but everybody is spending it, right? It's a concern for me. So all I'm asking you is, would we be unjustified? Would we be wasting time if we said to the board, can you look at all of those invoices and see whether the road accident fund did not overpay for any of these things, given that some managers do it, other managers don't?
Chair, you are justified 100%. And I would say you actually recommend not only to the board, but it must start with the executive, because there will be somebody under me that's signing, but we must start there at the executive level.
Yeah, no, we can only talk to the board, as it were, as the accounting authority, but I get you and I agree with you, right? So that's the one thing I wanted to get to. The other thing I would ask, since because the service level agreements, and I've looked at both of them, the Zinge and the Media Mix 360, it says if you are going to subcontract any of this work, you need to get our permission. My expectation is that the Road Accident Fund is also going to make sure that there's no nepotism there, where that agency I buy from my cousin, Honorable Blosse here, right? And my impression is that that level of due diligence doesn't happen. And this 1 billion has been externalized, where people are potentially overpricing, and secondly, they're procuring from friends and relatives, and there are no controls in place. Because I do need us to get to the recommendations phase, right? Because what I also want to propose is that the board should, through management and whichever, also scrutinize conflicts that may have arisen between the agencies and their own suppliers, because the Road Accident Fund is unsighted on that. Would that be fair?
100% fair, Chairperson.
Okay, all right. Unless you disagree. Okay, Honorable Madlala. So, not Honorable Madlala, Honorable. You see, you two are always talking to each other and teasing. Honorable Matu. And I won't say who takes offense about what being likened to the other one. Okay, I get Lisa.
No, ngiyabonga, Chairman. I cannot be a Madlala. At least, let's choose another name. It might be mistaken for Madlala here. And I have problems. No, thanks, Chair. One, on the, I think we spoke a lot on the awards, ne? And I wanted to establish, because Mr. Polela told us that there's someone else above him that signs. I just want to confirm, it should be yourself, right? So you sign the invoices. So I would assume that you would have received, because I do have the code, you would have received the bill of quantities that breaks down everything. So it's correct to say you paid Mikasa about around 222,000 to perform at that event?
That's correct.
I'm trying to establish who's Katleko Mabui. I see you paid the guy or the girl 65,000.
He was the MC of the event.
Oh, so is this someone popular maybe? I'm trying to establish, looking at the amount that he was paid.
Yes, he is. He is on SABC3, I think on the morning show.
You are too old, Matu.
No, I am too old. I only watch news. No, and Maskande, obviously. When I'm looking at the code and I'm seeing branding, I'm not sure whether you paid twice for it or it's maybe a mistake in the code, because it's 1, 2, the third item. It's branding 30,000, and then it also has a standalone item. I'm just not sure. Yes, of branding, it should be around 150 or so. If you add all those items that are there, is it correct, or maybe it was a mistake, or it's me that does not understand?
I cannot say it's a mistake or it's correct, Honorable Maduna. It could have been separated for a reason. I'm not sure why it was separated, if it's both branding.
I think the answer, Ms. Mayaba, is giving me a problem because I'm really trying to understand. Because really, I see that your at least the quote is itemized, and it's giving a perspective in terms of how much was charged for what. But in terms of the branding work, you have its own standalone item whereby each item that makes up the entire item or the branding of the event. If you look at it, the printout works and everything. But now it doesn't really make sense. Why do you have it above as well?
Mr. Majuna, I'm going to have to go and look at, study this and have a conversation with the people that were involved on the itemized bill. At this point, I cannot really point out what could have been the reason for putting branding on 2 line items.
I think my colleague would have spoken about drinks. Such a huge amount if you add all of them on drinks. You know, such a huge amount. But I want to check. To perhaps have to have insight, to happen to have insights into the chairs. I see you guys are, or were you buying the chairs?
No, we were not buying the chairs.
So you hired each chair for about 144 rand for a night?
Yes, honorable member.
Well, I assume you don't know if that's okay. I mean, if you compare to the market, that would be okay. That's a normal price, if you happen to know.
I don't think it could be the normal price. I've not looked at prices of hiring chairs recently, so I wouldn't know if it's a normal price or not.
I really wonder because I think the maximum the last time I checked, according to people who do these things of events, because I took my time, Chair, when I saw this 144 to check how much usually is a chair event. You see those expensive ones, those nice ones, they're about 65 rand at most. I really don't understand how did you arrive at, you hired chairs for 93,000 in total. It's really not making sense to me. And I don't think it's something that is acceptable. Because I believe this invoice, we are not going to get far. I think let us just leave it. But there are a number of items that I had noted in it that I thought that we must speak about. But it's fine. We can just follow up on them as a written questions. I wanted to thanks, Ms. Mayaba. Ms. Kumar, I wanted to check. We spoke about the fact that can a work begin before the LSA is signed? And then you would have said to us, if the standard, if the standard, what do they call it?
SBD.
Standard, SBD, the standard bidding documents are there, you can. But I think, I'm not sure, my Leonard colleagues would help me. I think that would be a normal tender document. Obviously, if you look at it inside, it has number of sections, which is your pricing, terms and conditions, the MPTs that are needed, and so on. I think it's about 6 items. But generally, when you speak about the SPT, you are speaking about the standard bidding documents. Now, usually in SCM, according to my recollections, there are 2 processes. whereby you bid using this standard bidding document. We award you, where we give you an award letter after you have won the tender. And then usually you would find out in organization with good control environment, you would have a separate, whether it's a unit within SCM, but usually it's under the CFO, where it's contract management. And then contract management, when you have been given the appointment letter, would take over from them, which is where they prepare the SLA, and then according to the GGC, the general conditions of contract, which clearly state that the SLA must be signed before the work resumes. Now, my question that I want to ask, if a service provider, in your case a draft, because clearly they can resume with work before they are signing the LSA, if they do something that is not in accordance with what they would have quoted in the standard bidding documents, how do you penalize them? You penalize them based on what?
Thanks, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, I must say, and I've said, I am not in supply chain management, and as a result, I'm not an expert in that. But from my layman's understanding of what is happening is that the SBD form, it allows then the RAF to receive the services from the service provider while we finalize then the service provider agreement. Maybe I must then take you through just the elements under in the service providers agreement. The service, the service providers agreement, which is signed after, while the contractor is busy with the work. Inside of that, it has issues around payments. It has issues, and there isn't any money there, but it says how would the service provider be paid, and what is expected of the service provider, and how to submit invoices. It has issues around the duration and dates of the contract. It has issues around the special terms and conditions, and most of these things are coming from the tender that was issued. It has the issues around data protection. It has the issues around tax clearance certificates and issues around penalties. So what I've been informed is National Treasury allows that a contract can start after the award letter has been issued and the SBD form has been signed. I think the CFO will be here tomorrow. She'll be able to explain properly to you.
Perhaps let me make an example, Chair. Let's say you are buying a building for $1 billion. I'm making an example. Or you ask, no, let's not. Say you are buying a machine to do whatever, or a system. Now, in your buying a system, it's a once-off transaction. You award a person. Obviously, when a person bids, they sign all those the standard bidding documents. They are part of the tender document, by the way. Those are documents that I think your MP, there are a number of things that you need to attach and supply. It might be different with draft, but usually in many entities, those documents are part of what must be part of tender documents. A tender document that you bid with, especially if it's a tender, not a quotation. In a case of a quotation, it could be something else. Now, the person delivers the system after you have given him the appointment letter, but then the system does not work properly. How do you then penalize that person? When you have not yet entered in an agreement with him that tells him that if your system is not working according to our expectation, this is how we're going to penalize you.
Honorable Member, as I said before, remember when there's a tender document coming out, it would say what you require. So in your example, it would say what we require the system to do. And obviously, if the system is not doing that, the people that are supposed to sign invoices would not then make payments, because they would not have received their value for money. And you are correct, there are other documents that are provided with during the bidding process. But the SBD 7.2 that I'm talking about is the one where the service provider has been appointed, and it then says to say that I hereby undertake to render the services described in the attached bidding documents in accordance with the requirements of the tender. It says what the tender is and the specifications therefore. And then it further says that I confirm that I have satisfied myself as to the correctness and validity of my bid, that the price, the rates quoted cover all the services specified in the bidding documents, that the price and the rates cover, and that the price and the rates cover all my obligations, and accept that any mistake regarding price and rates and calculations will be at my own risk. So those are the issues that are in the SBD 7.2 that are just signed by the winning bidder.
That's why I'm saying maybe at RAF it's different, because usually, I think that that MPT is usually towards the end of a tender document. In most organizations, you sign it as in when you apply for that particular tender, but it's fine. I will verify that. Oh no, thanks. That is what I wanted to verify with you, Mr.
Injury time.
In my injury time.
Yes, 2 questions.
I wanted to check, how did you guys end up in a situation whereby you are mass firing people, whereas you did not mass hire them?
I don't know what to say, but from people management's point of view, people were supposed to be fired, and I don't know at this stage whether ultimately they have been fired because I left, but the intention was to fire. Insofar as mass employment is concerned, it has never happened during my time at the RAF. People will be employed by various business units as and when there was a need from a business unit to source in a particular skill. I want to think of a situation where there was mass recruitment. I can't think of any.
So, because we don't have mass recruitment, I assume it would not be correct to mass fire people.
Certainly.
Lastly, no, thank you. Before Miss Kumalo and Miss Mayaba were Manyaba, sorry.
Manyasha.
Yo, Manyasha.
Yes, please.
Ngicela uxolo ba Manyasha. Bafike kaRAF, were you already there?
Yes, Honorable Maduna. I was already there.
So the CEO was hands-on in their recruitment.
I should think so, because their positions, or the positions they hold, report to the CEO. So as a matter of principle, yes, if you have reportees coming in, you've got to be hands-on.
Okay, no, thank you very much. As a parting short, Chair, as a comment, I just want to state that your salary and that of the CEO of NERSA, the difference is plus minus 100,000. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I just want to provide, before we go to Honorable Becker, some information. So I asked the Road Accident Fund to send us some information about how much the costs of initiating and sharing the matters. So I'll give just a few examples to illustrate the point, and I'll just ask for a comment, Mr. Letswalo, and leave it. So on the matter of Mr. Fikile Lamula, the Road Accident Fund paid Mashiane Mudli Monama attorneys 987,543 rand and 51 cents to initiate the issue, one case, right? The chairperson from Ningiza Hona 10 is 311,898 rand 66 cents. That's one matter at nearly 1.3 million. In fact, it is about 1.3 million together. That's just one. There's another matter, Lloyd Pretoria, 787,000 for the initiate. There's the issue of Tavadas and Naidu, 1.5 million for the chairperson, same law firm, one of the law firms that appear to get all the work. On the issue of Sipoma Pumul, 2,007,806 rand. Khenga Incorporated for the chairperson, 676,275 rand, 72 cents. An employer that trains its own employees in presiding over matters doesn't pay these kind of monies. The question I have to ask you, did anyone raise the issue of these exorbitant amounts paid for internal disciplinary processes? It really feels like a money-making scheme as far as the lawyers are concerned. Did you raise it? Did anyone ever raise? This spreadsheet, by the way, has how many cases? Just a sample, 69 cases. The law firms got over 16 million just from these, just on the initiator's side, and then the chairpersons got over 20 million, which is about 38 million. So did anyone ever raise the issue of costs of doing things this way? Now I'm asking you, Mr. Lutwa.
Thanks, Chairperson. The matters that you have referred to happened after I had left. But I need to state that it did not start with those matters. Even previously, there were cases where the costs were huge. But all the matters that you mentioned would have been matters that came after I had left. I'm saying this because in those names that you mentioned, I know Sipoma Pumul. So it happened after I had left.
All right. No, I'm just asking. So, I mean, I was just making examples. Did anyone ever raise the issue of how much all of this is, this practice, let me put it like that. I was just using for illustration. So it appears that Ms. Mpoma-Nyasha wants, but answer the question, because you are in ER. You are the one who is responsible. When I say you, I mean the ER department is responsible for these processes. And these kind of monies are being spent on internal disciplinary processes. Were you involved at any time in a conversation about managing these costs and different ways of doing this?
Yes, yes, Chairperson. That is why I said earlier that I approached my line manager and I spoke to him about the possibility of getting an MOU with sister organizations. I did too.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yes. No, I get you. All right, I remember. Ms. Manyasha, you wanted to add. I want to hand over to Honorable Kopek.
Thank you, Chair. I want to confirm that this matter was recently discussed at EXCO, and since then, before then, I had raised a concern with the senior manager ER, and then recently we submitted a recommendation via REMCO to the board to look into us reverting to having internal staff initiating, investigating, and chairing disciplinary matters, because I know for a fact, Chair, that this is how other organizations are doing it without spending money. I believe that previously it was stated that why we started using lawyers was because there was collusion between the ER people, managers, and employees in terms of disciplinary hearings. But what we wrote to the REMCO, we've stated that the risk has been reduced significantly and that the use of lawyers should be under exceptional circumstances. We have recommended training again for managers so that this can be conducted internally without spending money.
Okay, no, thank you. You will deal with the collusion later. Because, I have difficulty with that belief, because if people are colluding you, you discipline them. You understand, you don't spend so much money on...
Nothing. Sure, I would do honestly.